Hello there. Welcome back to another episode of your Daily Dose. We're going to be covering the Celebrate Festival and we're going to be talking about the Arcane Weapon. Imperial Sword strikes again. I don't really know why they did it because they basically called every technique Jia. I'm like, come on, game, let's get original here. But of course, if you don't know, Jia is pretty much a. I feel like Jia is like this staple of. A lot of games use the character name Gia. I don't know why they wanted to go with the Sparrow flat. I mean, look, it's there's probably some lore behind it, and I haven't read into it. But Gia Slash is pretty cool. This is kind of like it's an interesting weapon. I'm gonna say that there's a lot of text, so if you want to read it, interpret it in your own time, I would recommend that. We'll kind of go through everything. I want to say in in context, it's not necessarily a fantastic weapon, but it isn't a terrible weapon because the concepts behind the weapon is that you stick this on your strongest DPS. That's pretty much my take on it, and the reason being is because it's all scalable with attack percentages. The attack percentages are quite nice. They attack four random enemies, which is it's fantastic. It does defense and damage reduction against those four enemies. Has a guaranteed, pretty much a guaranteed stun chance. It says 60%, but basically it said there's a guaranteed stun chance when you do your hatred skill. You start with 100 hatred, which again isn't too bad. You do additional damage one or two times depending on which hero you stick it on. Because remember, some heroes, they come. Some of them start with like lots of hatred and they do like double all that sort of rubbish. But basically, I call it rubbish, but you know what I'm already talking about. We don't need to get into it. But you do start with 4 rage, 100 hatred, 20 accuracy, crit, and damage bonus. At 7 star, that scales up to 35%. So is it worth scaling it all the way up to 35%? Like that's a lot of money. I'm just gonna leave it there. You can come to that assumption. Most players will get this to the base form, maybe 1 star or 2 star. They probably at that stage won't want to invest much more. One thing I will say though is that it's 120 shards. 120 shards, which is actually a kick in the ass because it means that you can't spend the same amount of money of a hero or a beast to get the results. Now, is it worth it? Is it worth it? Short answer is it does a lot of things. So, Fighting Soul of Zia, after dealing damage, if an enemy within range loses less than 30% HP or shield, so if you're like a wet noodle and you can't deliver 30% damage for whatever reason, essentially speaking, your hero will do another turn. And this can only happen twice in a fight. Once per round, twice in a fight. You do extra damage and it lasts one round. You get a damage buff and you go again. Basically, that's what it does. But remember, it's only twice per fight. So that's interesting. Tyrannical Blade, essentially, this means that 40% less damage the first time you get hit while taking action. So the first time you go your turn, so you put this in your slot one hero, you do your Gongsang, Zhao Un, Marshall, Arcane Marshall, Arcane Dao Chan. They do their turn, they proc the damage reduction shield on them. They get hit and then that reduces. So every time that shield will reduce, at 7 star it's 70% and it reduces down to 40%. Again, damage mitigation in the game is fantastic. It keeps you alive longer. Is it game breaking? No. It doesn't offer a blanket immunity to damage. However, it this weapon, I feel like what they wanted to do was make it a all-rounder. They wanted to add the buffs, they wanted to add the debuffs, they wanted to add the stun chance, they wanted to add the damage mitigation. They didn't really offer much in terms of killability though. So this weapon is not going to finish enemies off like Whale Slayer ability or Greedy Guts' ability when the heroes get to a low HP. So this isn't really a finishing weapon. However, the thing that I would say that gets quite interesting, and it's going to take me forever to scroll down. Keep with me. Keep with me. Please don't click off. They have this thing called Spirit Power with a star map skill. So I'm assuming on the star map skill you will have the ability to start to select and mix and match. And what that means is, essentially speaking, the higher you level up your weapon, the more that you'll have accessibility to pick the skills and the things that you like. Each of these things get an additional buff to a aspect of the weapon's ability, defense, HP, attack percentage, etc. But also you have to remember that actually gives a buff to some of their abilities. So any attack has a 40%, 45% chance to inflict 12,000% attack, which is scalable, extra damage on 4 random enemies. I feel like the mid one is the best decision out of all of them, instead of the straight 15% attack percentage buff, or of course the 30% additional weapon damage. I don't feel like the additional weapon damage is actually going to do anything. I reckon it's going to be the demon, even though you don't necessarily get the attack percentage, which could be nice. You do get defense and HP, which is the offsetter. I reckon this is the best one out of all of those picks. But interestingly enough, it is a pretty wicked weapon. I feel like this is definitely a March Out or Dao Chan weapon for that stun chance, plus the additional layers of damage. But if you are building this and you would like to showcase it on this channel, let me know in the comment section down below. Hit me up in the DMs or Facebook, either way. Let me know so that we can try to get there. This event is definitely pay to win. But if you want to be building your arcane equipment, you have an option to do so. Of course, the divine weapon. There is, in fact, a mythical thing, which is a plus 6%, which is quite nice if you want to spend. Honestly, though, if you are thinking about spending, I would probably say that these packages are the best value. And the only reason I say that is because they have all of the previous or the most recent prior to Arcane. I want to specify that. So you have your Gen 6, you have your Gen 6 weapons and your beast. You can get that. They do. It's going to take you a lot to buy this. I feel like if you want to buy and build this weapon, it's going to take you probably an extra $50, which is kind of ridiculous. I'm not gonna lie, it is a little bit ridiculous. Everybody needs to buy this. 45 shards. There's no question about it. Just buy it and forget about it. Unfortunately, you're gonna need a little bit more to make this weapon. So you need to do the maths. Do the maths. Let me know how much you came up with. But essentially speaking, for the mere mortals out there, you're just going to be doing your missions and then you're going to be forgetting about it. Make sure you do your missions though. Don't be lazy. Don't be lazy. Don't be lazy. You can trick the game, by the way, by doing this. Like you can just hit this thing 6 times, go in and go out, back in, back out. So day one, you can get access to some of the cool things. That's cool. We get some legendary things that are dropping. Unfortunately, no mythics have dropped for me yet, but that's okay. Make sure you're doing all of your quests. And of course, if you want to do your stargazing and stuff like that, if you've been saving up, I spent all mine. You have to check out the previous video. I uploaded the full one. It's about 30 minutes, so make sure you check that out and let me know in the comment section, was the gamble worth it? I did get like 10k gold back today because of Demon's Red and stuff, so I'm not too hard pressed. But at the time, it was a risky endeavor. But essentially speaking, go in here, grab the things that make your account okay. Now, in saying that, this is quite interesting, and I want to bring everyone's attention to this. If you are a spender, though, and you would like to potentially get those, I guess, one-ups, they boosted the monthly funds exponentially. Now, if you do grab this, you will get the lamb steaks, which you can actually use in the Celebrate Festival. So for $23, you essentially are going to get 30 lamb steaks. So if you do a comparison of that analysis, like we're not going to get too technical. Basically, that sort of 7.49, you're going to get 16, and I think for the next range, you're going to get 30. So is it good value? Well, let's have a look. Let's actually have a look. And my initial response is yes, it really is good value. You are going to get some of these selection chests, which is quite phenomenal, but you also get a selection chest here too. So if you kind of add up everything that you're going to get, it should tell you over here, 75 shards, 30 of those. So that's 105 of your Generation 5 heroes and or your Generation 5 weapons and beasts. Of course, there are some selection chests here for Stark Armor, which is kind of interesting. You will get some mythic stuff. For $22, this is actually solid value. This is solid value. The only thing that I'm disappointed in is there's no gold. If it was gold, I feel like that would clutch it for me. But they removed the gold to replace it with the lamb steaks, which makes sense because that's relevant. So if you are curious about it, I do actually think that this is a good late game, mid game deluxe package. Now going on to the premiums, however, this one where it gets a little bit more trickier. You will have the selection chest. You will have 170 of these shards, so you could essentially get yourself up to like a 2 star generation 5 hero. Again, not too bad, and you do get some lamb steaks. I mean, it is kind of expensive though. I'm not going to say it's not expensive because it is a little bit expensive, but you do have a selection chest here where you can get 100 of those shards. I would only pick this. Like, let's be honest, you would only get the mythic selections. Like, let's be honest there. But for $80, I like the way that they're directing it. I do like the way they're directing it. Just keep in mind though that we are transitioning into the Arcane Hero and the Arcane Weapon and the Arcane Beast era. There is a beast that is arcane, it's the Azure Dragon. Just be mindful of that before you make any decisions. All right, I think we'll leave it there, but that's just a showcase, a recap. If you haven't already, make sure you sign into this one. If you're not in a Legion, you're doing something very wrong. Make sure you basically you level this one up. I don't even know if this is a Legion based thing. I don't really read this stuff. I feel like it probably is. Is a multiplayer real-time PvP mode in which you will fight strong over strongholds, capture strongholds. Okay, maybe it's not even maybe it's not Legion based. Interesting. Battle plays space when you attack player over stronghold. Scorch, your heroes will take scorch damage. We'll probably go through this when it actually goes live because I don't want to draw the video out too much, but it's interesting because there are some achievements. I'm assuming that you're actually going to be wanting to do this because of the seasonals. There's gold, there's rewards, there's rankings as well. Obviously, the rankings is insane. This is where you get your Stark armor, by the way. Not to mention that you also get some of these mythic ones here, and they've unlocked a lot of these ones that will pay to win. Now, essentially speaking, though, I'd say you probably only the pay to wins are gonna win this, so it's like I expect there's gonna be a lot of shit talking. I'm gonna be doing a lot of shit talking on this. But even saying that, even if you just sign up and you don't do very well, you will have a chance to get some of these selection chests as well. So definitely worthwhile. If you haven't signed up to this yet, do it because it is important. Make sure you do it. Second, 2 days until ladder starts, okay? But when the ladder starts, we'll be doing the PvP and stuff like that. All right, if you haven't already hit that like, subscribe, notification button, make sure you do so. I'll check out all of the comments. I always read and try to respond. Been a busy week though, been a busy couple of weeks. So forgive me, I'll get back to everybody that has questions. If you want to, add me on Facebook and of course make sure you jump into our Discord in the link in the description field below and say hello there. If you have any questions, we have a great team of people that are willing to give you some proper knowledgeable answers. But until next time.